نستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد وبالإسناد إلى الإمام البخاري رحمه الله تعالى ورضي عنه ونفعنا بعلومه قال باب تزويج السيبات. This chapter is about marrying سيبة. وقالت أم حبيبة رضي الله عنها قال للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تعرضن علي بناتكن ولا أخواتكن. Habiba radiallahu anha al-Mu'mineen says, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to me, don't offer me your daughters and your sisters. We are reading Kitabun Nikah of Sahih al-Bukhari, and last chapter was about Nikahul Abkar, marrying virgins, and we read the hadith that Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha was the only Bakira and Kumari among the wives of Hazrat Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The hadith we read, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam was shown Hazrat Aisha in dream twice. A person, Rajulun, meant a farishta, was carrying her in a piece of silk and saying, this is your wife. So I remove that silk cloth and I see that it's you. So I see your face and I say, if this is from Allah, then Allah will let it happen and pass by. Now, Hazrat Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam did have friendship with Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu before Islam. So he used to go to his house a lot. And he knew Hazrat Abu Bakr's family inside out. So he knew Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha as well. And at that time, before Nikah, Hazrat Aisha was only 6. So this is why Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "In yakun haza min indillahi yumlihi." We stopped there. There was a ishkal there that Prophet's dreams are wahi. So this was wahi from Allah. Hadihi imra'atuki. So why did he say in yakun haza? Because in is for shak and taraddud. So there are various answers to this. One answer we gave was Qazi Iyaz Maliki rahmatullah alayhi said there is possibility that this dream was seen before Nabuwat, and if this dream was after Nabuwat, then it could have one of 3 meanings. Number 1 we said was that in here is not for shak, it's for tahqiq and confirming. However, this is called tajahulul arif. Sometimes we know something, but we mention it in the form of a slight hesitation and slight taraddud. So this was just a little bit of wording is like that, but Huzur did not have taraddud and shak. He knew that this is from Allah and is going to happen. Number 2, second answer could be that Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam's shak is not with regards to the dream and its haqiqat. It's with regards to whether the dream is on its zahir or does it need any ta'bir, interpretation. So he said, if the zahir is from Allah, then it will happen. Or if it has any batini meaning and ta'bir, then Allah knows best what he means by it. Number 3, third answer is in yakun haza is connected to dunya, because there is possibility that she would be his wife in Jannat, in Akhirat. So he had shak whether she will be in this dunya, what will happen? Do I have to wait for some time, long time, and later on, or is it going to happen instantly, or is it going to happen after death in Jannat? So the taraddud is related to this, not to the haqiqat of the dream. Now we move on to the next chapter of Babu Tazwiji Thayyibat. Thayyibat is plural of Thayyibatun. Thayyiba is a woman who was previously married and she is now either divorced or a widow. So we did mention in the previous chapter that it is better to marry a virgin girl, and the reasons we mentioned the hadith of Ibn Majah that عليكم بالأبكار فإنهن أعذب أفواها وأنتق أرحاما وأرضى باليسير. Now, Musannif is trying to say there is no harm in marrying Sayyibat as well. Bukhari's gharz with this bab is to mention the jawaz and permissibility of marrying a Sayyiba. Now, Bukhari in the Hadith Mu'allaq has brought Habiba's quote that Huzur said to me, "Don't offer me your daughters and your sisters." Now, where is Sayyiba in there? Muhashi and Sheikh Yunus Sahib says that because Habiba was his wife, and some of his wives did have children from previous marriages, and this is why he said banati kunna. So the word Sayyiba is taken from banati kunna, because if a woman has a bint, then that means she is a Sayyiba. She was married before and she had a child from previous marriage. That's why Imam Bukhari took the indication of Sayyiba from banati kunna. Then we read the hadith of قارثة بن نعمان قارثة وشيء من قارثنا سيار عن الشعبي عن جابر بن عبد الله رضي الله عنه قال قفلنا مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من غزوة فعجلت على بعير قطوف فلحقني راكب من خلفي بعنزة كان معه فانطلق بعيري كأجود ما أنت من الإبل فإذا النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال ما يعجلك قلت كنت حديث عهد بعرس قال بكر ثيب قلت ثيب قال فألا جارية تلاعبها وتلاعبك قال فلما ذهبنا لندخل قال أمهلوا حتى تدخلوا ليلا إيشان لكي تشد الصعيدة وتستحد المغيبة. Famous hadith of Hazrat Jabir, you've read it before in Mishkat Sharif as well, and maybe somewhere in other books as well. Sayyiduna Jabir says, we were returning with Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from one of the Ghazawat. What she writes, Qastalani said this was from Ghazwa Tabuk. So I was hastening on my camel, which was very slow in movement. Qatuf is sifat of ba'ir. Ala ba'irin qatufin li. And qatuf means which takes small steps and walks very slowly. So it was like a tattoo. It was moving very slowly. فَلَحِقَنِي رَاكِبٌ. One Rakib rider joined me, connected me from behind me, and he poked my camel. Nakh means to poke, to push, to strike. Bi'anazatin, with a spear. So he struck my with a spear, began to rush and run as the best camel you could see. And he said to me, Ma yu'ajjiluk, why are you rushing? And I replied, I am newlywed. So he said, did you marry a virgin or a previously married woman? I said, a previously married one. He said, then why didn't you marry a young girl with whom you can play and she can play with you? He says, when we attempted to enter the city of Medina, he said to us, take it easy until you enter during the evening time. Laylan, he meant Isha'an, in the evening, so that the woman whose hair are disheveled can comb her hair and the woman whose husband has been absent for some time can clean her excessive hair of the armpits and the pubic hair. Hadith is clear. Hazrat Jabir had married a Sayyiba. In the other riwayat of Wahb ibn Kaysan, he mentioned the reason for that. He said, كُنَّ لِي أَخَوَاتٌ فَأَحْبَبْتُ أَنْ أَتَزَوَّجَ إِمْرَأَةً تَجْمَعُهُنَّ وَتَمْشُطُهُنَّ وَتَقُومُ عَلَيْهِنَّ, as mentioned by Hafiz ibn Hajar in Fathul Bari, that I had some sisters. So I love to marry an elderly woman who can gather them, who can comb their hair, and who can take care of my sisters. In other words, if I brought a young girl, it would be another sister. So I had to marry someone a little bit experienced who can look after my sisters. And Huzur said, you've done well, you wishful thinking, and that's okay, there's no harm in there. فهلا جارية تلاعبها وتلاعبك ملاعبة खेलना, to play around. As this shows have a good sense of humor and play around with one another, and this is needed for a successful marriage. And then أمهلوا حتى ندخل ليلا, take it easy. أمهلوا أمهلا के माना ठहर जाना, रुक जाओ, wait, don't rush into the city now, we'll enter at night. A question is put forward over here, that one hadith said لا يطرق أحدكم أهله ليلا. Now one of you should not come to his house, to his family at night time. So why did Huzur say at night time? The answer and the Jama' Bain al-Riwayatain, combining both riwayat, is by saying that Laylan over here is mentioned as Isha'an, which means evening, and La yatruq laylan means in the middle of the night, because taraqa means to come in the middle of the night. From was-sama'i wat-tariq, وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب. The star appears bright and shiny in the middle of the night. That is called a tariq. So la yatruq ahadukum is for middle of the night, and isha'an over here is for evening. Number two, some shurra say, second answer to this is that this hadith hatta tadkhulu laylan is when the family have been previously informed of the arrival, and la yatruq ahlahu laylan is when they don't know, they have not been informed of the arrival, because that would create some suspicion in their hearts and minds that my husband does not trust me, that's why he suddenly barged in the house in the middle of the night. So there can be combination of both riwayat. Tamshiyah sha'itha, meaning this means that normally when the husband is not around, the women stay in a casual manner. But when the husband is coming, she has to get ready and comb her hair. This indicates that, when husband is home, then the wives should do tazayyun for the husband, and not stay, in mele kuchele safle kapde and bikhre baal. She should be dressed nicely and comb the hair properly, put some oil on, and look nice, and put some perfume on for the sake of the husband. أن تستحد المغيبة. مغيبة means التي غاب عنها زوجها. أن تستحد is from استحداد. استحداد is استعمال الحديد, to use razor, and razor is used for shaving. So shaves her pubic and armpit hair, meaning cleans herself. चलिए आगे पढ़ो next hadith. जोर से पढ़ो.
وبه قال حدثنا علي وقال حدثنا شعبة قال حدثنا محارب قال سمعت جابر بن عبد الله يقول تزوجت فقال لي رسول الله ما تزوجت فقلت
صلى الله عليه
زوجت
وسلم.
فقال ما لك وللعذارى ولعابها فذكرت ذلك لعمرو بن دينار فقال عمرو سمعت جابر بن عبد الله يقول قال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم هلا جارية تلاعبها وتلاعبك.
Same hadith, a little bit of different word here. Malaka walil azara. What is with you and virgin girls, wali'abiha, and playing with them? Azara is plural of azra. Azra means kumari, virgin, who's not been married before. And wali'abiha, there are two dhabts to it. Li'ab bi kasril lam, which is uh, فعال from لعب يلاعب ملاعبة ولعابا باب مفاعلة to بروزن قتال لا يقاتل يقاتل مقاتلة وقتالا to لعب يلاعب ملاعبة ولعابا playing with them. Another ضبط is بضم اللام ولعابها. لعاب means took and saliva, which means a husband should kiss his wife on the mouth, and if they take one another's lu'ab, then there is no harm in there. This is a playful manner. So what is with you and with virgin girls and their lu'ab? So I mentioned this to Amr ibn Dinar ila akhirih an halla jariyatan tulaibuha wa tulaibuka is there. चलिए आगे.
وتزويج الصغار من الكبار وبه قال حدثنا بن يوسف قال حدثنا يوسف عن يزيد عن العراق بن عوان النبي صلى
This
الله عليه وسلم
ذكرت ذلك لعمر بن دينار is قول of شعبة. چلیے.
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم خطب عائشة إلى أبي بكر فقال له أبو بكر إنما أنا أخوه فقال أنت أخي في دين الله كتابه وهي لي حلال.
Marrying a young girl to elderly person who is older in sin, in age. Um, Imam Bukhari's gharz with this bab is to mention that this is permissible. Ibn Battal Maliki said, ये मसला इजमाई है. This is ijma'i mas'ala. And Imam Bukhari is taking the lead from the hadith. Hazrat Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam proposed for Aisha to Abu Bakr, and Abu Bakr said, I am your brother. And he replied, you are my brother in Allah's deen and in his book, and she is halal from me. You are not my blood brother. Hazrat Siddiq Akbar radiallahu anhu used to stay like a brother with Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That's why he said that I am your brother, so she will be your bintul akh, and a niece, and you can't marry niece. So Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave the answer. Now, um, the bab is tazwiju sighar min al kibar, and this is not mentioned in the hadith. So how did Imam Bukhari take the lead from there? The answer is that Hazrat Abu Bakr said so if Hazrat Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his age and his daughter Aisha, so she must be young in comparison to the age of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is why Imam Bukhari took the dalil from there that a young girl can be married to an aged person. Then this hadith is narrated by Urwa from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now Urwa is a tabi'i, so the hadith is classed as mursal. So why did Imam Bukhari take dalil from a mursal hadith and he did not bring a musnad riwayat? The answer to that is that this is Urwa is the son of Asma bint Abi Bakr and the nephew of Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. So he must have heard this riwayat from either his mother or his khala. And this is why Ibn Abdul Bar Maliki said هذا الحديث صورته صورة المرسل ويحتمل أنه حمله عن خالته عائشة أو عن أمه أسماء بنت أبي بكر. قال أبو عمرو بن عبد البر إذا علم لقاء الراوي لمن أخبر عنه ولم يكن مدلسا حمل ذلك على سماعه ممن أخبر عنه ولم يأتي بصيغة تدل على ذلك. चलिए.
باب إلى من ينكح وهي النساء خير وما يستحب أن يتخيل للمنكح فيه من غير رجال. وقال حدثنا أبو اليمان قال أخبرنا الشيخ قال حدثنا أبو زناد عن أرجو بن هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال خير النساء يمكن الإبل صالح نساء قريش أحمر على وجه في صغيره وأرعاه على زوج في ذات يده.
This chapter is about to whom one should marry his daughter and which women are the best, and that it is mustahab for a person to choose a wife for his nutfa, but it's not wajib to do this choosing and selecting. Imam Bukhari rahmatullah mentioned three masail here. Number one is ila man yunkihu or ila man yankihu. To whom should one do nikah or to whom should one give his daughter in Nikah. Number two, which women are the best. And number three, that a person should be very careful in selecting the wife because he is going to place his nutfa in her and he's going to get children from her. So he should think what type of a wife he should get so that he can have pious children. Now, first two masail are very clear. Bukhari is saying that you should marry a pious woman. As Huzur mentioned, best women are the women, pious women of Quraysh. And Ayyun Nisai Khairun is also taken from there. And the third mas'ala, Ma yustahab wa yutakhayyara, one should choose, is not directly taken from the hadith, but there is another hadith which says, تخيروا لنطفكم وانكحوا الأكفاء, narrated by Ibn Majah, and Hakim classed it as Sahih, that choose well for your nutfa and marry those who are your kufr and who are suitable for you. Bukhari Rahmatullah alayhi perhaps indicated towards that hadith, and he also added min ghairi ijabin. It's not wajib to be so particular, it's only mustahab. Now we look at the hadith. Huzur said the best women to ride on camels are the pious women of Quraysh, very caring for the child in his childhood and very protective for the wealth of her husband. خير نساء ركبن الإبل, the best women to ride camel. This means the best women of Arab, because it was the women of the Arab who used to ride camels. So among the Arabs, the best women are the pious women of Quraysh. Salihu Nisa'i Qurayshin, meaning not all women of Quraysh. Among Quraysh, there are Salih and Ghair Salih women. So the Salih women of Quraysh are the best. And why they are the best? He gave أحناه, حنا يحنو حنوا, means shafqat, to be considerate, kind, caring. They are extremely caring for the children in their childhood. भाई जरा जो बजा रहे शोर करो ना, जरा जोटी बूम पाड़ो नहीं, मजा आवे जरा. આ લોકોને સંભળાય નહીં તમારો શોર થાય તો બિચારા સમજ કેવી રીતના પડે આ લોકોને. જી, أحناه meaning أشفقه, most caring for the child in the childhood, and أرعاه على زوج في ذات يده. रआ यरहा रियायतन means निगरानी करना. सो शौहर के माल की बहुत निगरानी करने वाली है. चलिए, मालूम ही हुआ कि वन शुड चूज, सोच के शादी करनी चाहिए, अच्छी लड़की से करनी चाहिए. ऐसे ही चलती फिरती सड़क पर से यूनिवर्सिटी कॉलेज में से किसी को पकड़ के नहीं ले आना चाहिए. सोच समझ के अच्छी तरह शादी करनी चाहिए. I was reading the other day, this person went to see a girl, so she was not so good looking, so he had thought of declining, and she said to her parents, can I ask you one question? So he thought that she's going to ask me, what's your job, how much do you earn, do you have your own house, normal questions. But to his surprise, she said, did you pray Fajr today? And he said, yeah, I did. Did you pray in masjid? I said, no, I prayed at home. And she said, do you pray on time or qaza? And he said, I prayed qaza. And she said, if you promise to pray Fajr on time in masjid, I will marry you. So he thought that तो बहुत नेक पहले से, she's very pious, बहुत नेक लड़की है. तो उसने अपना इरादा चेंज कर लिया. उसने कहा okay, I'm going to marry her. Now when he came back home and told his family, and they said, she's not so good looking, why are you marrying her? You will find another nice, good looking, beautiful one for you. And he said, no, I'm going to marry her because she is pious and she will bring me pious children. So he said, I married her, and I had to keep up with the condition. Every day I had to go Fajr Masjid. And Alhamdulillah, Allah gave me 5 children from her, and they are all 5-time namazi. And they all go to the masjid. And that was the only condition she put. So, Dindar, the pious woman, this is why Huzur said, "Takhayyaru linutafikum." Be very careful before you choose your lifelong partner. That, she should be Dindar, religious, so you can have religious, pious children as well. Chaliye. Babu ittikhadis sarari, waman a'taqa jariyatan thumma tazawwajaha. Sarari is plural of surriyatun. Surriyatun بضم السين والراء المشددة المكسورة is taken from tasarrara, and tasarrara is from sirrun, and sirrun, one of the meaning of sirrun is jima'. So tasarrara means jama'a. And number 2, sirrun is from sir, which means secret. And normally they used to keep bandis in secrecy. They used to hide the bandis away from their wives. And when they wanted to have intercourse with the bandi, they would go to her secretly, that the wife doesn't find out. Because if she found out, then garbar tharbar. Once Abdullah ibn Rawaha's story, you remember, you read in Jildi Awwal, Abdullah ibn Rawaha radiallahu anhu once sneaked out of his room and went and slept with his bandi. In the meantime, his wife woke up. She realized he must have gone there. So she went around frantically looking, and Abdullah was coming back to his room, and she had a knife in her hand, and she said, "I'm going to kill you." And she jumped on him, and he was on the floor, and she was on top of him. "I'm going to kill you." And he said, "Wait a minute. I said, "Tell me something. Can you read Quran Sharif when you're in the state of Janabat?" And she said, "No, you can't read Quran Sharif." "Then I'll read Quran Sharif to you. Do you believe me? I haven't slept with her." And she said, "All right." So he sang some poetry. وَفِينَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ يَتْلُو كِتَابَهُ إِذَا انشَقَّ مَعْرُوفٌ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ سَاطِعُ أَرَانَا الْهُدَى بَعْدَ الْعَمَى فَقُلُوبُنَا بِهِ مُوقِنَاتٌ أَنَّمَا قَالَ وَاقِعُ يَبِيتُ يُجَافِي جَنْبَهُ عَنْ فِرَاشِهِ إِذَا اسْتَثْقَلَتْ بِالْمُشْرِكِينَ الْمَضَاجِعُ. Now she believed him. She thought he's reading Quran. She let him off. In the morning, he came to the masjid. He told Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they all laughed it off. कि तूने अच्छी जान बचा ली अपनी बेगम से, वरना मार डाल दी इसको. तो कुंवारी ये जो औरतें हैं, वो बांदी के साथ नहीं सोने देती, तो चुपचाप से बांदी के साथ जाना पड़ता था. इसलिए इसको सुर्रियतुन और बांदी को सरारी कहते हैं. So इत्तिखादु सरारी, taking sarari and bandis. ومن أعتق جارية ثم تزوجها. Now, Imam Abu Dawud has narrated in his Marasil from Zubayr ibn Sa'd that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Alaykum bi ummahatil awlad fa innahunna mubarakatul arham." Take hold of ummahatul awlad, umme walad, because their bachadani and womb is barakati, blessed. They give children. Huzur himself had a child from Qibtiyah radiyallahu anha. So he said, if you have a bandi and you can get children from her, then do so. They do produce good children. But this hadith is weak in sanad. Imam Ahmad has narrated another hadith in his musnad from Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As radiyallahu anhu, where Huzur said, "Inkihu ummahatil awlad fa inni ubahi bikum yawm al-qiyamah." The sanad of this hadith is stronger than the first one. So this is about ittikhadu sarari. And woman a'taqa jariyatan thumma tasawwajaha, marrying a slave girl, freeing a slave girl and then marrying her. Imam Bukhari has proved this tarjama with the hadith in connection. Parlo hadith.
وبه قال حدثنا مسلم بن اسماعيل قال حدثنا البخاري قال حدثنا سالم بن صالح الحمداني قال حدثنا الشعبي قال حدثنا ابو بكر رضي الله عنه قال
hadith number कौन सा पढ़ रहे हैं?
5083.
5083. चलिए.
قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أيما رجل كان عنده وليدة فعلمها فأحسن تعليمها وأدبها فأحسن تأديبها ثم أعتقها وتزوجها فله أجران وأيما رجل من أهل الكتاب آمن بنبيه وآمن به فله أجران وأيما مملوك إذا حكم عليه وحكم به فله أجران. قال الشعبي خذها بغير شيء. قد كان رجل يرحل فيما دونه إلى المدينة. وقال أبو بكر عن أبي حسين عن أبي هريرة عن أبي رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أعتقها ثم أصدقها.
Amir Shabi narrates that Abu Burda narrated to me from his father, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, that Rasul Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whichever person has a slave girl, he teaches her and teaches her beautifully, he trains her and trains her beautifully, he frees her, then marries her, then he will get double reward. And whosoever from Ahl Kitab believes in his Prophet and believes in me will get double reward. And whichever slave fulfills the hukuk of his masters and the haqq of his Rabb will get double reward. Shabi said to the student, take this hadith for free. A person would travel for less than this hadith to Medina. And the other riwayat is a'taqaha summa asdaqaha. And Nabi Pak said, freed her and then gave her the meher and dowry. The istidlal is from the first portion of the hadith. أيما رجل كانت عنده وليدة فعلمها فأحسن تعليمها. Taught her beautifully. Taught her what? أحكام الشريعة and Deen, Quran, Hadith, Masala, Masail. He taught her because let's say she was young and she needed education, so he gave her full education. And then أدبها فأحسن تأديبها, trained her, meaning gave her good akhlaq, morals. Adab is حسن الأحوال والأخلاق or التخلق بالأخلاق الحميدة. And Muhashi writes this should be min ghayri unfin, without any pressure. Just this is what Huzur used for ahsana. He taught her beautifully in a good way. Now, if this is for Bandi, then what about for our own daughters? We should educate our own daughters and train them properly. So, trained her and taught her and then freed her and then married her. Now, after he freed her, she could have been abandoned, left to fend for herself. But he did not do that. He married her and made her the queen of the house. She was a slave girl, now she is the queen of the house. And he will get double sawab for his efforts and extra sacrifice which he made. Hazrat Sheikh Yunus Sahib says, some of the Salaf did not know this hadith and they felt that it's makruh to do this, free a slave girl and then marry her. Because your thawab of freedom and emancipating her would be reduced by marrying her. This was narrated from Ibn Mas'ud, Ibn Umar, Anas ibn Malik, Sa'id bin Musayyib, Ibrahim Nakhai, who used to feel that this is makruh. Perhaps this is because they were not aware of this hadith. Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi is proving there is no harm in this by bringing this hadith. And this hadith of Abu Musa Amir Shabi saying that take this for free is being mentioned before in Kitabul Ilm, and you will discuss it there, what Imam Abu Musa Amir Shabi means by this. He said this to his student Salih ibn Salih al-Hamdani. And what he means is that he was in Kufa, Iraq, which is probably 1 month distance from Medina Sharif. So he says, you are taking this hadith for free, whereas when I was studying, we had to travel for a smaller hadith to 1 month distance. And you are getting these hadiths for free. And today, we have everything on Sheikh CD, and Sheikh Computer gives everything at our fingertips. But still, we are deprived of the barakat of the knowledge and ilm. For ilm, you have to study hard and you have to study and go to the ulama and learn from them. चलिए आगे बढ़ो हदीस.
وفي قال حدثنا سعيد بن كثير اخبرني نوح اخبرني جرير بن حازم بن ايوب المحيي بن ابي رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال حدثنا سليمان بن محمد بن زيد بن ايوب المحيي بن ابي رضي الله عنه ملك ابراهيم الى ثلاثه كذبات بينما ابراهيم مر بجبال ومعه ساره خلق الحديث فاعطاها
भाई जोटी पर आवाज नहीं जट रही.
غفر الله لذا الكافر واقدمني اجر قال ابو هريره فتلك امكم يا بني ما السماء.
हाँ, नेक्स्ट हदीस पढ़ी. कौन सा नंबर पढ़ा हदीस का?
5084.
5084 सुलेमान वाली पढ़ी. बीच में जो हदीस है वो तो सनद है उस प्रीवियस हदीस की. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu says Ibrahim alayhi salam did not tell a lie except on 3 instances. Whilst Ibrahim alayhi salam passed by Jabbar, a tyrant, and with him was Sarah. Ila akhir al-hadith. So in the hadith it is that فَأَعْطَاهَا Hajar. He finally gifted her Hajar, and she said, Allah withheld the hand of the kafir and gave for our khidmat and service Hajar. Abu Huraira said, that is your mother, O people of the heavenly water. These hadiths in Mishkat in details, and Ibrahim alayhi salam's kazabat were not really kazabat, they were tawriya and ma'azirul kalam, and this type of tawriya is allowed, but Ibrahim alayhi salam was very scared. That's why he will not be doing sifarish on the day of Qiyamah, and he will say, go to others, I'm scared. What if Allah tells me that you told a lie on 3 instances? What answer will I give? So Huzur mentioned this, and the ta'wil of it is mentioned by Muhaddisin, which you have Ishkat and you will read elsewhere as well. And the aim here is that Hazrat Hajara was given as khidmat and gifted. And what did Ibrahim alayhi salam do? Ibrahim alayhi salam freed her and married her, and she gave birth to Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam. Abu Hurairah said, Tilka ummukum ya bani ma'is sama. يعني إنكم تتعاظمون في أنفسكم وتلك أمكم. You think big of yourselves, but your mother was a slave girl who was given to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. So don't feel any big-headedness in you. Remember who you are and where you came from. This is probably what Abu Huraira meant by saying fatilka ummukum. Ya bani ma'is sama. Banu ma'is sama could have one of 2-3 meanings. Number one is taharatul ansab, because the rainwater is pure. It has no dirt in it. If you collect it in a bucket, it will be really pure and drinkable. So taharatul nasab is meant. Number two, bani ma'is sama, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided zamzam water from ghaib for Ismail alayhi salam. And you know the story of how Zamzam came about. So perhaps Ma'us Sama is indicating towards the Zamzam water. Number three, Arabs used to rely on rain a lot because their land is dry, and they would only get rain for a certain amount of time. So for their irrigation and their fields and their ponds and lakes, they would need water, and they didn't have any rivers or running water or pipelines. So all they used to look towards the sky and wait and anticipate the rain. That's why they are called Banu Ma'is Sama. चलिए आगे.
وبه قال حدثنا قتيبة قال حدثنا اسماعيل بن جعفر بن حميد عن انس بن جبير قال اقام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بين خيبر والمدينة 3 يبنى عليه بصفية بنت حيي فدعوت المسلمين الى وليمتي فما كان فيها من خبز ولا لحم ومن الطاع فأوتي فيها من التمر والأكل والسمن فكانت وليمته فقال المسلمون احدى امهات المؤمنين او مما ملكت يمينه فقالوا ان حجبها فهي من امهات المؤمنين وان لم يحجبها فهي مما ملكت يمينه فلما ارتحل وطأ لها خلفه ومد الحجاب بينها وبين الناس.
Haji, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam stayed between Khaybar and Medina for 3 days and nights, and his rukhsati was done with Hazrat Safiya. ibn Huyay. So I called Muslims to his walima, and there was no bread nor any meat. The only thing was that he instructed the leather, the dastarkhan, to be spread, and khajur and paneer and ghee was thrown on it, and that was the walima. Muslims said she is either Ummul Mumineen, wife, or she is from Ma Malakat Yaminuhu, what his right hand possesses and owns. Then they said, if he keeps her behind the veil, then she is from Ummahatul Mumineen. If he does not keep her behind the hijab, then she is from Ma Malakat Yaminuhu. So when the time for traveling came, he وَطَّأَ لَهَا خَلْفَهُ. He lowered down for her behind him, and he stretched the hijab between him and people. This is the incident of Hazrat Safiya radiallahu anha's marriage, and we've read this hadith in Kitabul Maghazi and also in Mishkatul Masabi and other places. Hazrat Safiya binti Huyay Huqayq from Banu Nadir. She saw a dream that the moon came down and fell in her lap. She mentioned this dream to her husband, who understood the dream and slapped her of marrying him. So she was deeply hurt, she cried. But immediately after this, the Battle of Khaybar happened. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave victory to the Muslims. Kinana ibn Abi Huqayq was killed in the battle, and Safiya came among the captives. And Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam first gave her to Dihya Kalbi, but then Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, why did you give her to Dihya? She should be for you. So Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam looked at her, and she was like a princess because she was the daughter of the leader of Banu Nadir, Huyay ibn Akhtab. So he felt the Sahaba were right. So he said to Dihya, you take some other slave girls and leave Safiya for me, which Dihya Kalbi did. So Huzur did nikah with her. Now this nikah was not open. It was not in front of the whole public. This nikah was in front of whatever is required in the form of two witnesses. Hijab Qabul was done. And then this is why Sahaba did not know whether she's been treated as a wife or as a bandi. Now, istilal of Imam Bukhari is Mu'inna means ittikhadus sarari is jais. So it was jais for Huzur as well to take a bandi for himself. Then فَلَمَّا ارْتَحَلَ وَطَّأَ لَهَا خَلْفَهُ. Watta'a means Torah naram karna. So he softened up for her behind him, and he stretched the hijab between him and people, meaning to help her to ride on the camel. He knelt down and told her to put her foot on his knee and then climb on the camel, and he stretched the hijab for that, and people realized that Huzur was not taken her as a bandi but rather as a wife. Chaliye aage.
باب من جعل إثقال أمة صداقها وبه قال حدثنا كتيب مسلم قال حدثنا حماد بن ثابت وشعيب بن هادي عن أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بعث بصفية وجعل عتقها صداقها.
To make the freedom of a woman her meher, Huzur freed Hazrat Safiya and made her freedom her meher. Is it jais to do this? Number one, it is allowed to say to a band, I won't give you any dirham dinar, your meher is your free, her itq, her meher. Imam Tirmidhi narrated from Imam Shafi that he was of the first opinion of Jawaz, but ulama Shafi'iyya say that this naql of Tirmidhi is daif, and Shafi'i's Sahih Maslak is of Adami Jawaz, as quoted by Hazrat Shaykh Yunus Saab, Rahmatullahi alayhi. And the answer to this hadith of Wajah ila itqaha sadaqaha, number one is that this is the estimate and andaza of Hazrat Anas radiyallahu anhu. It's not hadith marfu. Number two, Muzani narrated from Shafi'i and Bayhaqi from Yahya ibn Aqsam that this is khususiyat of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Tahawi also included this in khususiyat, that it is allowed for Huzur to do this, not for anyone else. Number three, Hafiz ibn Hajar rahmatullah alayhi said that this was i'taq ala shart tazweej, meaning Huzur freed her under the condition that she marries him. And this was classed as wajala itqaha sadaqaha. Perhaps meher was different. The shart is classed as wajala itqaha sadaqaha. Chaliye.
باب تزويج المعصي لقوله تعالى إن يكونوا فقراء يغنيهم الله من فضله قال حدثنا عبد العزيز بن أبي حازم.
Marrying a person who is mu'sir, gharib, miskin, who is faqir. So it is jais. Bukhari is saying it is allowed to do this. A similar heading we have read before as well in the beginning of Kitabun Nikah. And there the words were Tazwijul Mu'sir alladhi ma'ahu al-Quran wal-Islam. Perhaps there Imam Bukhari meant a Mu'sir who is Hafiz of Quran. And over here he means Mu'sir in general. Whether he has Quran or he does not have Quran, but still you are allowed to give him your daughter. Musayyib, who gave his daughter to Abdullah ibn Wada'a, who was Mu'sir. Bukhari brought the ayat in yakunu fuqara'a yughnihimullahu min fadlihi, which means it is allowed to give your daughter to a faqir. Allah said yughnihimullahu min fadlihi. He doesn't have to be rich and have a job and a Mercedes car and his own, house, and all these requirements are not necessary, unnecessary. You could pay attention to them, but don't make it lazim malzoom unnecessary. Chaliye. The hadith you've read before in Mishkatul Musabi. Jari puri hadith पढ़ लो. चलो मैं पढ़ लेता हूँ. अभी क़ारना कुतुब क़ारना अब्दुल रज़ीम बिहाज़ में नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम क़ाल जात रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम क़ाल या रसूलल्लाह जीतु हबु लक नफ्सी फनज़र इलैहा रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम वसअद नज़र फिहा वसअव ثم تعطى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم رأسه فلما رأت المرأة أنه لم يقض فيها شيئا جلست فقام رجل من أصحابه وقال يا رسول الله إن لم تكن لك بها حاجة فزوجنيها فقال هل عندك من شيء قال لا والله يا رسول الله فقال اذهب إلى أهلك فانظر هل تجد فذهب ثم رجع قال لا والله ما وجدت شيئا فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم انظروا لخاتم من حديد فذهب ثم رجع فقال لا والله يا رسول الله ولا خاتم من حديد ولكن هذا إزاري قال سأل ما له رداء فلها نصفه فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما تصنع بإزارك إن لبسته لم يكن عليها منه شيء وإن لبسته لم يكن عليك منه شيء فجلس الرجل حتى إذا طال مجلسه قام فراه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم موليا فأمر به فدعي فلما جاء قال ماذا معك من القرآن قال معي سورة كذا وسورة كذا عددها فقال تقرأهن عن ظهر قلبي قال نعم قال إذا فقد ملكتك بما معك من القرآن. चलो हमारी असर की अजान हो गई, अभी नमाज करी होगी इंशाल्लाह. इसको कुछ बात हुई तो कल कह देंगे. वाखिर दावाना अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मद व आलिहि वसहबिहि अजमईन बिरहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन. ओके मुनसर, अल्लाह हाफिज़, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.